That's all, the whole group. I got 2 thumbs up. Okay, there we go. Not too bad. All right, so we've been talking about putting tile in wet areas, and we want to make sure we're doing it right so it stays in the wet areas and doesn't go where it doesn't belong. So we need to follow our program that we're dealing with today is dealing with methods. So Matt and Mark and Chad and Amber, they've been helping us deal with using the right products, doing the right systems, all of that. So we want to make sure we're doing everything correctly, following all the right steps. Very important. So we're going to make sure we're doing that. So now, as we've been working on this project, we've got a shower here. So in our shower, we're following our guidelines in the TCNA handbook. So this is a B422, so we've got a cement board, a fiber cement board on the wall. We're putting a membrane over the top of it. Our homeowner, according to my checklist, has selected where to put the niche, I guess if we're from the East Coast. I don't know where the dividing line is for when I start saying niche. I think I'm still far enough west that it's a niche. So we're going to put our niche in, it's there. So now we're going to keep going, installing some membrane to make sure that we're doing it correctly. So we're going to do that, we're going to install some membrane, and I got a feeling, have you heard about the homeowner here? A little bit affected, shall we say? A little bit of a busybody, kind of like Karen. So we're going to get started here. Hopefully she stays away and I can actually get some work done. So I'll get started with some work. So if you're ever doing fiber cement board, one thing, what do we know about fiber cement board? It's like you in the desert. It's always thirsty, right? So we're going to want to give it a drink. So we don't want it sloppy wet, but we want to make sure we give it enough of a drink so it's not pulling the moisture out of our thin set. So we'll give it a nice drink of water here. Why was it that the other groups weren't doing the high sheets and they, never mind, I think we all know why. That was a short joke to the other people on our crew. You got it? It wasn't that much of a reach? Okay. So you guys have seen Chad, all right. How about Matt? I don't think Matt's a great stretch above Chad in height. So, okay, now we've got it nice and damp. So for this mortar, or for this membrane installation, we're going to want to use mortar. So, nice thing we can do, select the right size trowel. If I'm installing membrane, you think this is the right one to go with? Nah, probably not, right? That's going to just make a mess on our hands, right? So, want to go with the right size trowel. Nice thing here, we got a couple different sizes we can work with. So we'll start with an 8 by 8 notch trowel. What am I doing wrong? I'm doing something wrong. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Thank you. We got to use the flat side first. If we don't use the flat side first, it's just kind of laying thin set on the surface. And that's not good enough for us. We want to make sure this is keyed in. If we were to take a microscopic look at fiber cement board, we'd see it has lots of holes in it, lots of pores. So it needs to get that mortar forced into those holes. So that's what we do with the flat side of our trowel. And hear the noise. That's what we're trying to do. You can hear it scraping on the fiber cement board. Now, this is one of my biggest gripes. We do classes, and then we hear people keying in, and listen to this noise. And that's what they're doing. They're doing nothing but spreading some mortar around. We're trying to actually force the mortar into the pores of this board. And you know how hard it is to do this and not drip a big old glob of mortar while everybody is watching? The tile demonstrator's worst nightmare. I guess it could be the second worst nightmare. There could be other things that go wrong. But we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it as a worst nightmare. So nice and keyed in. So we've dampened it. Now we've keyed it in.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Hi, I'm Karen.
Are you Joe's wife?
Yeah, I'm Joe's wife,
I've heard
Karen.
stories about you. I heard you're just the most fantastic person. I heard you're so nice. We're glad you could come over and take a look and see the progress that I'm making here.
Oh, absolutely. Don't worry, I won't get in your way or anything. I won't slow you
Joe
down.
wasn't in anybody's way either.
Yes, yes.
Where's Joe off to today?
Oh, he's busy fishing. I
thought it was his parole officer.
No.
Okay.
That was last year.
Okay, all right. Oh, he got that all cleared up.
All good, all good.
Very good.
I do have a question though. I know there were some changes, but we selected tile. Why are you putting orange wallpaper up?
We thought you liked orange. I thought you were a Syracuse fan.
I do like it, but I just don't think orange is my color.
This is our membrane. So we want to make sure you're taking showers in here. A lot of water happens in here. We want to make sure it stays in here. So to make sure that we put up this is actually our waterproofing layer to make sure that our water stays inside the shower, doesn't go back in your wall cavity, go over there next to the vanity, anywhere else in your home. It stays in here, goes down the drain. So that's why we're doing this.
Well, am I paying extra for this? Because I'm already paying for tile, and doesn't that waterproof it?
So the nice thing about the company I work for, they've included all of this as part of a whole package of installing it, so we install it the correct way. We don't come back and try to, hey, did you want your tile to be waterproof after we've already installed it? No, we make sure we go to you, give you a full price that covers everything, including the waterproofing, so that we're doing it correctly, because we know you don't want to leak.
Okay, but isn't tile waterproof?
That's what you'd think, wouldn't you? So, but the thing is so tile, we have tile, it can be porous. The grout joints are porous. Sometimes we have a little bit of movement. We have different escutcheons and things around here. Lots of places for water to get out. So we want to make sure we seal up every one of those places for it to get out ever before we begin. And so that's what this process is.
Okay. Well, I don't want to bother you. I don't want to slow you down. So go ahead and get to work. I'm just going to be...
Don't you wish you had one of these? Does the homeowner 3000 just shut her up for a little bit? I'm glad she can't hear me. Did you see her hair today? I'll let her talk in a minute. But let's see, I want to hurry up and get some work done. So we know when we install this membrane on this board here that we're doing, it can kick off pretty quick. And if we have a homeowner slowing us down, not that she's really slowing me down that much, I can speed it up a little bit. So we're just trying to make sure we get a nice even coat of mortar. We don't want to leave too much. We don't want to leave lumps, because then we're just making our wall that we took the time to flatten out ahead of time. We're making that not flat. So we're taking our time to make sure we get this mortar spread nice and even. There we go, almost there. Can anybody tell me what angle I should be troweling my thin-set mortar at? Here's a hint. 45-degree angle, exactly right. So when that trowel is going across the mortar, that's the angle we want to keep it at. Now we're going to install our membrane right over the top of our nice, fresh thin set. We don't want to wait too long. There's my little mark. Pretty close. So one nice thing we can use a knife, or we can use a flat trowel to key this in to make sure this membrane sticks nice. So nice thing here, I've got them both with me. Nice, good amount of pressure. We're not trying to take the thin set out from behind. We're just trying to make sure we get it keyed in nicely all the way. So now I think, let's see if she'll leave me alone a little bit. Click.
So anyways, what I was saying, actually, what was I saying?
You were asking about our membrane. And so now I'm finishing up putting some membrane here. We want to make sure We keep the water where it belongs. So I'm almost done with this sheet here.
Well, I see you've got the niche there. And is that going to be the size? Because I don't know if you've noticed, but I have a lot of hair. And my shampoo bottles.
I did notice that. Do you shop at Costco?
I do. I have Costco
Do you get the
bottles.
Costco size
Yes,
shampoo
I
bottles
absolutely
and conditioner?
do.
Okay.
Is that going to fit in there? But I also have soap bars and razors and things like that. So I'd really like to be able to fit both in there. Is that possible?
I think we could make something like that happen. Nice thing is we have a shelf that we can install for you. So maybe if you could do me a favor, can you go get me a dimension of how high your shampoo bottle needs to be? But then another thing is, so say you have about a 12-inch high Costco size shampoo bottle. That's fine. But then we have to still figure we have tile going in here.
Okay.
We have to also figure that if it has a pumper on the top, you've got to put your hand on top of it to use the pumper if you have that. So a couple things. So maybe you'll let me know what the size shampoo bottle is. And so I make sure that when I set this shelf, you have enough room for razors and soap and whatever down here. That this is about right for Joe, right? We'll give him just about that much. He can reach in there and get out whatever he needs, and we'll give you a nice big tall shelf for the shampoo bottle.
Perfect.
Perfect. All right, very good.
All right, I'll go check. I'll be back. Right. Don't worry. Don't miss me too much.
Okay.
Okay.
You come on back. All right. So let's take a look here. Nice and flat. Just want to make sure we don't want any air bubbles, obviously, behind this. I got a feeling I let this already set up a little too much. I should talk less and work more. That's what my boss, Mr. Wellner, says all the time.
Okay. Just like that.
So let's take a look. Let's peel this back. How am I doing? Not bad. Got good time to the back of this. Could be a little better, so I could be a little wetter. So I'm going to make sure on the next section that I do, I'm going to make sure I have enough moisture on the wall before I install. So there we go. We'll knock off that excess there. So on a fiber cement wall like that, it's going to drink the water. It's going to drink it fast. I gave it a drink, and yet I don't know if you can tell already, it's setting up pretty quick here. My homeowner slowed me down a little bit, but still, I can't blame it all on her. So I maybe should have given it a little more of a drink. What would be another way? So if I used a sponge to wet it down, and it's not quite enough, what's another way I can give my fiber cement board a drink?
Did you say homeowner? Were you calling me?
Oh yes, height. Did you give me the height?
Yes, I did. It's 12 and then 3 of those squares. You could add that on top and that should be about it.
Okay, so about like that much more.
Yes.
So we'll go 13 and a half to give you room for tile on the top, another half, so about 14 inches.
I think that sounds good.
So it looks like Joe's not going to have a whole lot of room, but we don't really care that much, do we?
Priorities.
Priorities.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
So next I'm going to install one of these rings. Do you know what this ring is for?
No, I don't.
It's handcuffs. Well, no, it's not handcuffs.
Joe's already got those.
No.
We've been married a long time.
I don't want to know about that. I don't want to know about. You mean from his prison days?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Joe. Oh, I've heard stories about Joe. You know, those cold winters in Wisconsin, you know, just crazy things happen to people up there. So, well, it's good that he's finally cleaned up his life and turned his life around. So I'm glad you were able to get him to do that. All right, so now I'm going to show you one thing we're doing here. We want to make sure when we install the shower valve that we don't get water coming out around the shower valve as well. So same thing here. So because I am membrane on top of membrane, I'm not worried about giving this a drink because it's not going to be drinking up any excess water off of the membrane that's already been installed.
So this is a lot of steps and everything. How do you guarantee or how do you make sure that all this isn't going to leak? I mean,
well, that's why we go through all of these steps here. So making sure we get this mortar behind here. get it moved around, get it sealed up nice. So let's take a look. Let's see, make sure we're nice and tight. You got good transfer of mortar. Yeah, now we're much better because it's not drinking out that moisture out from the surface behind it. So now nice and tight. So let's just make sure we have everything. We've got the niche.
All set.
Got that good. I know the tile you're going to use, so I'm pretty clear on that. What else is there anything missing in the shower that you want?
I've been talking about a niche, and for some reason I'm still not seeing it. So does that mean not the niche, but the, I'm sorry, I talked about a bench. I still haven't seen it yet. Where's my bench?
Right here, it's the 5-gallon bucket. It works. Okay, no, we're not going to give you a 5-gallon bucket. So we have a bench right over here. And which corner do you want this bench in? We've got glass out here for your door, so either here or in this corner over here. Your shower head is up here.
I'm thinking that one.
Over there. Okay, yeah. So let me grab the bench here real quick. So the nice thing is already waterproofed, already membraned. Once we install this with some mortar, then we just need to use some banding to seal it up. So is that about the right location? Does that look about right for you?
That looks good, thank you.
Let's see, would I shave my legs there? Yeah, I think that would work for me, shaving my legs too. So I think we're good. So they were saying you might be interested in finding out what your tile would look like on the wall and on the floor.
Yeah, but I'm also, you know, I've heard about all these leaks on the floors, and like, how do you make sure, is there any way to give me a little reassurance that when you do the floor and the pan,
I don't exude reassurance just talking to me.
I don't know if I'm ever reassured with anything.
Okay, well, let's see. You know, I know with Joe, I can understand why you would feel that way. Let me reassure you of something. Let's take a look over here. Let's take a look here. Oh, I see where I'm at. Wow, that time really goes away quickly when Joe and Karen talk to us too long. So
I earned my name, Karen.
I know, and it's a good badge for you. So whenever we have a pan, so when I'm done with yours, it's going to look like this. It's going to have membrane. All the corners are going to be sealed. Then I'm going to put a plug in the drain. Then we're going to take a bucket of water just like this. We're going to pour it in here. Now, hopefully I don't spill any all over the stage. So everybody says, oh, look, you've got a leak. So then we're going to fill it up just like this in your shower pan. We will check below all the walls everywhere when we fill it up. Typically we will mark it for the height, and then we're going to check it about 24 hours later. If the water's where we wanted it to be, then all we do is we'll come here. We don't have to do this at your house because it's already hooked up to the plumbing. But we'll just put, for this case here, we'll put a bucket underneath. And then we pull up our drain. So then we're looking for something else. We're looking for a couple things when we do a water test. One, that it holds water, right? That's very important.
Good thing.
That's very important. Another thing we're looking for with a water test, so if we're doing water test, we want to make sure the water gets off of the pan so that we don't have any bird bath. So a bird bath is a little place that holds a puddle of water. So a puddle of water is not going to do us any favors if it's holding water after we put tile on. So we want to make sure there are no bird baths when we're done. So what do we see here? Nice little even sheen of water across the whole thing. No water sitting anywhere. And it all went down the drain.
Thank you. That
Are
makes
you
me
feeling more reassured now?
I do. I feel much better now. I think I could actually probably leave you alone and go to my Pilates class.
Pilates, is it? I thought it was like kickboxing or something like that. No?
Nah.
Okay, well, very good. So let's take a look. We have your tile. Those are your choices you've made. So you're happy with those?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would actually, now that you mention it, I hate to be a Karen, but if you could show me what my tile would look like up on the wall, I would love to see that, if that's possible.
I think we can make one.
Okay,
or two pieces
let me
fit.
see when my appointment
How's
is.
my time? Oh,
Let's see.
I still think we have a little bit of time.
Okay, great.
I think we can make it happen.
Yeah, my class doesn't start just yet.
I'm going to go ahead and pull out the bench. Now I'm going to use a trowel. Anybody in the audience, can you help me how much mortar do I need to have underneath my tile? Does anybody know how thick that needs to be? I know somebody knows. I know he knows. Anybody else? How thick does my mortar need to be underneath my tile? Huh? Half inch. A little too, actually quite a bit too much. So if I'm using a mosaic or something like that, that's going to leave quite a bit of mortar behind. So this is about a 5/16 trowel. When I hold it on a 45-degree angle or so, once I finish my mortar, I should have a finished layer of about 3/32. So typically that would be a 3/8 notch trowel held at a 45-degree angle, knock down the notches, and we should end up with about 3/32. So let's see if we can show Karen. Will you hand me a couple tiles there, Miss Karen? Am I doing it right yet? No, I'm not. Actually, let me bring it up into the place where everybody can see. Boy, this is a test here. Let's go on top of the membrane I just set. What could go wrong there? So once again, key in the mortar. Very important. Nice and keyed in. And I don't have on my list here, Karen, do we know, have you guys selected the pattern this is going in?
It was the one where they were kind of a little offset.
Like a brick pattern?
Yes, just
Okay.
like that. Thank you.
Very good. Let's try this. My tiles are going lengthwise, so let's trowel my mortar lengthwise. Good idea, right? No. Well, we want to go across the short direction because our tile is running across the long direction. So we want nice, full, even notches. See how these are all nice and smooth? Sorry, you guys too, you see how these are all nice and smooth?
What kind of glue is that?
So it's not really a glue, but this is a cement mortar. Actually has some latex, some additives in it to make sure it sticks really well to your tile and that it doesn't dry out too fast. That's how we get a really good strength. So this is going to stay up here a long time for the life, right? So I'm going to peel off the sticker. You can take that. Let's set a piece of tile up here, push it in, slide to the left, slide to the right, and back. That's what we're looking for. Does that look pretty good? Am I a good tile setter? Well, let's see. We only know part of the story. Well, let's pass the Karen test.
I guess it looks good. I don't know. What am I looking at here?
We're looking for no ridges, no lines, complete collapse of our notches.
Yep, then it looks good.
Let's check. Do I look good? Let's pass the real test.
Pass, boss.
I passed?
95% coverage or better.
Okay, very good. And that's the point we're looking for, right? We're looking for 95% coverage. Why 95? Who can tell me, why do I need 95% on these walls? Because we have two standards. We have 95 and 80. Why do I need 95 here?
Wet area.
I heard it here too, right? A wet area. Exactly right. So if I'm outside where there's water, rain, things like that, inside a shower, if I didn't collapse these ridges, if I just set this tile, that's how a lot of tile setters set tile. That's how they do it in Wisconsin. And take a look. If we see trowel like this, what's going to happen back here? It's going to fill up with water and hold water. Water's going to get through these grout joints. So now I've got water pooled up back here. This water is sitting back here. What happens to my grout joints in this area? They stay wet as well. So now it's wet back here. It's wet inside the grout joint. It's warm inside the shower. Karen, we already know, uses quite a bit of shampoo. Maybe not as much conditioner as she should, but that's beside the point. So if that's the case, then I've given it food. So I've given it warmth, because you don't take ice cold showers, hot showers, food, warmth, water, we're growing things in your shower, and you don't want to have, you've picked a nice color tile, green is probably not going to go well inside that, or black, or any other colors. So we want to make sure this tile goes up and we don't have any issues.
This sounds really exciting. I mean, it sounds like you're putting together a really great system here. I'm almost wondering if I can convince Joe to turn this into a steam shower after you're done. Maybe get a little, thing and put it in. Seems like I should be able to add that later, right?
Not a bad idea, except we're a little far down the road. So we have apples and oranges. Right now, we're building you apples. We're building a waterproof shower, so water is going to stay in here. But when we turn to a steam shower, now we have a vapor instead of liquid water that's in there. Liquid water, this will hold it out really well. But as we get to vapor, now we might have a challenge with certain membranes. Also, you notice your ceiling is here, nice and flat. If we're a steam shower, we need to have 2 inches of pitch per foot. So you've got about 4 feet across here. You need 2, 4, 6, 8. You'd need 8 inches of fall across this ceiling, because you don't want to be in here taking a shower and have water, cold water dripping off the ceiling. We want it to go to a wall, run down the wall, and go down the drain.
I got it. So if we're going to do a steam, we got to build it that way from the beginning.
Exactly. So
Okay.
we're a little far down the road to start thinking about a steam shower. But I know you've got the kids' bathroom. The kids just moved out. Maybe when you remodel that, we will make that into your steam shower, and you can leave this one for Joe.
That sounds like a good plan.
Okay, very good. So we've got this. Now let's do one last thing. I've shown you how your wall tiles should look. How about one last thing? Shall we look at your floor tile?
Sure.
All right, let's do that. I'm going to come right over here, right behind you. I've got a sample that I can work right on top of. Move this out front here a little bit. So, what do you have there? What kind of tile is that? Oh, nice.
I don't know. I just saw
Like
it.
a pebble
and,
stone. That looks really cool. So, nice tile. So, oh, once again, not doing it right. Got to key it in. So here I'm going to key it in. Nice and keyed in. Now I'm going to notch it. So same thing, we want to end up with 3/32 of an inch of mortar, and so we need to make sure we're holding our trowel at a 45-degree angle. So there I've notched this. So we see the notches, right? Pretty nice. Any idea what happens if I take this and put it on top of there and beat this in so I get good coverage on the back? What's going to happen to my thin set? It's going to squish up right up through this tile. So how can we fix this? How can we make sure we get the right amount underneath but have none of it squish up through? One thing we can do is we take our same trowel, start on the flat side of the trowel with a little bit of mortar, and we're just trying to flatten it out. So I haven't added or taken anything away from the mortar. I've just flattened out the notches. Now I will set this sheet of mosaic here. And I don't know if I brought a green heavy grout float here.
Sorry, I kind of threw you
I think Joe must have.
there.
I think Joe must have taken that. I had one. Let's see. Let's just change gears. We will use this to beat in our tile. Let's clean this off here. So first off, let's see if we pass the carrying test. Do you see mortar coming through all the way to the top, or just coming through the mesh?
Nah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit through the mesh, right? So let's take a look. Let's see how we do. Let's take it out. Let's get our other owners to pass this. So when we beat this in, we want mortar to see that we have mortar coming through, but not enough that it's coming through all the way to the top so that we have to come through here and scrub and clean all of our grout joints out. Make sense? So we got the right amount, so now let's peel this back. Let's see, how's my coverage? Mr. Crevillian? Not bad, right? So I've peeled it all away from there. So it's peeled completely away. I'm sorry.
What happens with the mesh at times? The mesh backing.
So sometimes the mesh backing has too much glue on the back, adhesive that they've used, and sometimes we don't have these holes in them. And if they don't have the holes and they're all filled up with the glue, we're not getting the transfer coming through to our stone that's on the other side. So we need to be careful. Another thing we can have too is sometimes our mesh goes outside, and then when we go to add the next layer, the pieces of mesh are butting into each other and not allowing our stone to fit up nicely. We might have to trim and check those edges of our mesh so that they're not out past our tile. So Karen, how are you for our tile samples
You know what?
and what we're doing so far?
I am, you know what? Thank you for taking the time to show me some of this stuff. I know I could have a lot of questions sometimes, but I feel much more confident about this job, and I think I'm ready to go to Pilates. So
All right.
thank you for your
Very
time.
good. Well, thank you. And hey, tell Joe when he gets back from his parole officer I said hi.
I will.
All right. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everyone.
Look, Mom. I made that.